I want to talk about a bit of a tough subject today. This is a bit of a hard truth. And it's to do with photographers not being able to accept this specific thing. And at the end of this video, I'm going to give you the way to get round it. Now, it kind of goes like this. It's not fair. There's thousands of photographers. There's millions of photographers trying to take my job. How can I possibly compete against that? How can I compete against this world of photography? Now, this is just for pros, and I'm coming at it from the viewpoint of a commercial photographer, but we're talking about how do I actually get anywhere? There's just so many of us. It seems impossible, and it is, because it's only 0.1% in the UK of photographers that get to the stage where they have an agent and shoot big campaigns. 0.1%. And it's not fair. It really isn't. But let's look at this in a different way. Let's try and see this from a different viewpoint. Say, and this is from a UK perspective here, I want to be a football player. I think the rest of the world call it soccer. The chances of me being a professional football player getting paid a heap of money to do what I love is very slim. There's a lot of factors that go into this. Genetic gifts, because in sport that's really important, as it is in photography, I guess. Having a good upbringing and a right upbringing where you actually end up in these places, someone to take you to football practice, being smart enough to do it, being at the right place at the right time. All of these things need to sort of come together, and then you also need to be the best. And nobody questions that. No one questions, oh, it's not fair, I want to be a professional football player, but loads of people can do it and they're better than me. No one questions that. But for some reason, as photographers, especially on the internet, we talk like it's our God-given right to be a professional photographer, to have a job that is fun, to have a job that is well paid, and to have a job that is well respected at the high end. I know, at the beginning, you're kind of treated like a bit of a chump. But for some reason, we find it hard to accept. It's like, well, why shouldn't I be the person? Why can't I be the one that gets all of this stuff? The cool job, the big paycheck. Why aren't I getting it? And the fact of the matter is, you're probably not good enough. And there's a few reasons why you might not be good enough. One of them might just be that you suck, that your work sucks, you have poor taste, you don't understand what looks good, and you spend all your time watching videos about kit and just generally not learning how to take photographs. Another might be that you live in the wrong place in the world. And that's a cold, hard truth. Most of the commercial work happens in London, New York, and Paris. It is very hard, and I say that as someone who doesn't live in London, very hard to make it without living in London. The only reason it works for me is because I had a best friend who lived in London. There's a property in London. There is an agent in London. Like, we have all these things in London, which gives us a London-centric world. Otherwise, I wouldn't stand a chance. And why should I? Why should I be able to have the big job, the big paycheck, the fun job, and not have to go to London? Like, what makes me special? So there's that side to it. It's also worth noting that a lot of us aren't that good. And I know this because when I thought I was good enough to deserve this, I look back on it now and I was rubbish. I did not deserve the paycheck. I did not deserve the cool job. I just thought, well, I've bought some camera gear. I've spent a lot of money. I've done some work. I should get a go at this. But why should I? The world doesn't owe you anything. And the sooner you realise that and go, well, it's not just like I should have this, it makes it so much easier to start making headway and to move forward in your career. Once I realised that I wasn't good enough, it suddenly switched me into gear. Yeah, and I've made a video before on this. It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. Basically, the less you know, the more you think you know. The more you know, the more you realise you know absolutely nothing. And I cannot tell you how much I feel like I'm at the beginning of my journey right now. And this is saying it 15 years in. These first 15 years, these were just trying to learn to take a picture. But now I'm at the beginning of my journey. Now I can see what there is for me to do. I can see what it is I need to do, what I need to improve on. You can see there's a camera set up back here. It's because I'm about to do a test shoot, because I need to be testing. We've got some computers in the office over there. They're rendering out video projects for a client because we need to be working. Like, it all comes together eventually, but there's this long, hard slog where you just believe that, like, why shouldn't it be working for me? And it's a real trap. And it ends in two ways, and only two ways. One is bitter resentment, and that's when you start commenting on videos and articles online going, wow, all these people have got cheap cameras, now anyone can be a photographer. If you're down that line of thought, that train of thought, you've lost. You don't stand a chance. Like, just accept it. Go and be a hobbyist. And that sounds harsh, I know. But if you're a blame merchant, you're not going to get through this. The other path is to go, my word, these people are so much better than me. Why are they better than me? How are they better than me? What is it they have that I don't have? How can I get that? How can I learn that? And I've recently had a bit where I've hit a brick wall in my work. You know, my work's of a reasonable standard. I shoot big campaigns. We shoot worldwide campaigns. I have a good agent. And I was looking at someone else's work, and I know comparison is the thief of joy. But I was looking at this other photographer's work. I just sat there and went, her work's better than mine, and I don't know why. And I've spent the last few weeks trying to work out what it is. And I have. I've worked out what it is. I've worked out what makes her work better than mine. And I now know what I need to improve on. Now, I actually work in two very different genres. But I could see the production value of her work was better than mine. And I now know what it is that she has that I don't. And if you're interested, she has a way of lighting with narrative. And I don't know what it's actually called, but that's the best way I can describe it. Lighting with narrative. And it's something I'm trying to now bring into my work, as lighting with narrative. And I've used lighting as a narrative tool before, but this is different. I don't even know what it's called, what she does, but it's brilliant. And I am now working toward that. Now, if you're sitting there and you're thinking, that's great, I understand, Scott. I understand that I can't be the blame merchant. I understand that I need to go and do the work. What do I do? What is it I need to do? And let me tell you, it's really simple. If you're enjoying this video, please do hit subscribe. I cannot tell you how much it helps this channel. And the bigger the channel grows, the better the videos are, the more videos I can create, and the better production value I can have. We'll have less talking head and more jumping out of planes with parachutes. But now back to the video. You need to create a body of work that is personal, cohesive, and sits within a niche. And you need to do it and keep doing it until you lose the will, and then do it a bit more. Think about quitting, and then continue. So, for example, I have this bold and graphic style of still life work. I shoot it more, I do a bit more. I'm always shooting more, I'm always creating more stuff, and it comes from my perspective. It's nostalgic, it's playful, it comes from a 90s childhood. It is me in still life imagery. And you need to work out what that looks like for you. And you just need to keep plugging away at it. And yes, I've got all these courses which are about marketing, about the business, about the technique you can go and buy and download. And they will teach you things, but you still need to do the work. You still need to put in the time. You know, you can buy all the camera kit and all the educational stuff in the world, but if you don't actually do the work, and if you don't review your work in a critical way and go, well, actually, maybe I could do better at this, then you don't stand a chance. But these are the steps that you need to go through in order to get there. I have a great video that you can click on here, which is all about how I went from being absolutely broke to making six-figure shoots. And hopefully that will help you move on in your career.